If you want to start saving for college the smart way, a 529 plan is one of the cleanest tools available because the money can grow tax deferred, and when used for qualified education expenses, withdrawals are also tax-free. Now, in this video, we are going step by step through the process to open a 529 plan inside of Fidelity. But before we click anything, here is what you'll need. Account owner info. You're going to need your social security number, your tax ID, your date of birth, your contact info, and then a legal mailing address. You'll need the beneficiary's info, their name, date of birth, and social security number. And then you also need your bank routing and account number to actually fund the plan. And one more quick note. If your child does not have a social security number yet, Fidelity explains that many parents open the account with their own info and then just update the beneficiary stuff later. So you can do that if you want to start the plan before they're born. And before we jump in, here's a quick disclaimer. This is educational for general information purposes only. This is not tax advice. It is not individual investment advice. Always confirm with your tax or financial professional if you have any questions for your specific situation. Now, let's open a 529 plan. Okay, so we're going to start off in Fidelity.com. This is the main page. We're going to want to go to products, drop down to 529 college savings. Go ahead and click. Okay, so if you want to, you can go ahead and read through this. This is the button to click and open a 529 account. You have no annual account fees, tax smart savings. It kind of gives you a brief overview of what it is. Now, something to keep in mind is you can open a 529 plan anywhere. So in Fidelity, they have one specifically for Arizona, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, which is also their national plan. And then when you click another state, they actually run it through the state of New Hampshire's same plan. So if you're in a state like mine, Iowa has their own 529 plan portal and such that we can invest through for a different state specific tax savings. If you want to keep something simple like I do, I usually want everything all in one portal just so I can keep track of everything. Super simple, very easy. So I'm going to go ahead and open mine in Fidelity and just kind of forego that additional tax savings of 3.8% on the deduction that would take. So for here, this is another state. Mine would fall under that one. Then go over briefly, what the hypothetical chart would be. So let's go ahead and open a 529 account. So once we click open a 529 account, it brings us to this page. Are you already a Fidelity customer? Yes or no? So we are, so we're going to go ahead and click yes. Opening account just takes a few minutes. It goes through just a few bullet points, that you need to log in, some steps you need to take. We'll click next, and then we're going to do our login. So next, Fidelity will ask you to choose an account type. So here's the simple difference, straight from Fidelity's explanation. So for the individual accounts, the account owner keeps control of the 529 regardless of the beneficiary's age. So this is the most common choice and the choice that I'm going to be making today. Then you have the custodial option. So this account eventually transfers to the beneficiary when they become an adult. So if you don't mind that or want that for them to take ownership once they turn 18, you can click that option. It is there for you. I'm going to go ahead and click individual and next. Okay, so here's where we tell you a little bit about the beneficiary. So first name, middle name, last name. They will need a social security number so they can tie it. If they don't have one yet, or if the baby hasn't been born yet, you can go ahead and fill out your info here and then just change it later whenever they are born and issue a social security number. Date of birth, country citizenship, and then your relationship to the beneficiaries. Are you a parent, grandparent, an uncle, an aunt, where you want to open a 529 account specifically for this beneficiary? And then where do they live? Do they live in the same address as you? Great. If not, you can enter the new address. That's fine. So we are going to fill out this information and then click next. So here's the part most people skip, and it can actually cost you money. You're not locked into your home state, but you should check your home state first because some states offer tax incentives for using their plans. If your state offers a deduction or a credit for contributions, that can be a tiebreaker. I know mine does here in Iowa. For simplicity reasons, I'm still going to choose to open mine up inside of Fidelity. So just know that going forward. Now, between these plans options, you have Arizona, you have Connecticut, you have Delaware, you have Massachusetts. We're going to do the National Fidelity Managed 529 plan, which is very close to their New Hampshire, like we covered earlier. So we're going to click that option and click next. Okay, so when it comes to choosing your investment strategies, you can choose age-based options. This is like Fidelity funds, Fidelity index funds, blend of funds that I think are very important for a 529 plan. So you can do this. This particular page doesn't really show you a lot about these. So let's head over to this page here. Okay, so when it comes to this page, you have the age-based options, you have the customized-based options. For age-based, if your child was born, say, between 2017 and 2019, it can show you how that fund will be broken down and what type of fund that you could just automatically set over to them. And this will change as it get closer to the age of when they're actually going to use the 529 plan. So as they get closer to college age, the types of investments that are chosen for you change to help secure those funds and maybe not be as risky during that time. So you can totally choose that option if that is something like more like a target date fund if you do those for retirement, or you can do the customized approach where you can do a static combination of, say, aggressive growth, moderate, conservative. They have all these Fidelity funds. There are a few things I want to show you. So if we were to click on the New Hampshire Aggressive Growth Portfolio, remember New Hampshire is used for their national accounts, we could see this bring up here. On average, but last year, they had a 25% return. That's great. But we also need to look down here at their expense ratios. When these funds are more actively managed and not as passive, they do end up charging a higher expense ratio. Being that it's at 1%, this is a good fund. It's obviously doing really good returns. Now, the last 3 years have been great in the stock market. So when they say 25% for 1 year and the last 3 years, 19, it's not really calculating what happened in 2022 when we saw a gigantic decline. Like on this graph. That's why your 5-year mark is so much lower than your 3-year. So just know that. I mean, you could pick a S&P 500 fund for almost 1% on this expense ratio. You could hire a certified financial planner to do a lot of this and manage it for you. Now they'll add in the expense ratio of the funds that they choose. And you can just say, hey, I would really like to stick to passively managed index funds to try to minimize cost. And you'd probably get more of a customized plan. So just know that going ahead of time. Then if we were to say choose another option, maybe towards this Fidelity Index Aggressive Growth Portfolio, you'll see this expense ratio is much lower. It's only 0.11%. Still great return. So it's not like the actively managed is killing it out of the park, right? It's not 100% true. Even with the last year at 22%, sure, you might be able to say, well, the more actively managed fund is, getting 2 to 3% more on the return. Sure. But if you look at over the 5 years, it's not that drastic of a difference. Me personally, I would say I would go more to the customized option for here with more index style funds, just less expense ratio, something that I can control and flip back and forth with as, my child gets a little older. I might go to moderate and then more conservative style investing. So if we were to go here, let's check out the moderate growth portfolio. So for here, last year, like I said, last 3 years in the stock market have been amazing. So don't let this fool you. 1 year, it's at 17% last year, almost 14% in the last 3 years. And then you start to see the real truth. Over time, it does average where you do get a more steady 8 to 12% return that is more realistic. So in the last 5 years, this does calculate into 2022. So when you do see that this fairly large drop in price here, this is factored into your 5-year. That's why it's lower than the 10. So just know that going into it, as you go from an aggressive growth portfolio to a moderate and then to a conservative, you'll see these drop off. So let's go back and I'll show you even the conservative while we're here. So in the conservative, it's up to you if you want to choose this one. I'll probably stick in the aggressive to moderate, but in the last 4 years, they did 5%, 3 years, 4%, and then obviously between the last 5 and 10 years, between 1 and 2. Yet again, it doesn't look like there's not as many highs and lows, which is great. It's kind of what you want for in a more conservative market. But when you're talking in these returns, at least as of right now, Treasury bonds, things like SGov are doing really well. So you would want to maybe choose another type of investment that might be more stable rather than something that's bringing a consistent 1 and 2% return here. So let's go back to the main page and I'll show you the other more individual options. So we go out of static, we drop down to individual. So here you'll see your 500 index fund, your total market index, you even have some international stocks and then the Treasury index. So if you're a S&P 500 investor, the top 500 companies that naturally rotate out, it's not going to be the same 500 companies every year, right? The companies down in the 499 to 500, they routinely rotate out. So if some companies are doing better, it brings them into your portfolio that you're investing in. So just know that it's not completely locked in. You do get some sort of diversification. It's not a lot, but it is in there. So we'll go ahead and check this one out and I'll show you. So you'll see in the last year, they had 16.23% return. The last 3 years, of course, it's been great, 21%. And then 5 and 10 years, this is more that standard, 12% plus is fantastic return. So you'll see that it's done well in the last 5 or 10 years. If you want to see what it's made of, you would go to composition here, and then you can see, it's 100% US equities. That's fine. We kind of know that. We know it's the top 500 companies. So this is really good. Me personally, I would want just a little bit more diversification, still great returns. So for me, I know I'm moving a lot of my investing over to total market index funds just to have the rest of those companies in the total US stock market. So here you'll see 1 year's 15.25%, 3 years still just shy of 21. It's right on track. 5 years, 10 years, same. It's roughly similar to the S&P 500. Then if you have the composition, it is 100% US equities, but it follows the Fidelity Total Market Index Fund, which is FXKAX. So it's mimicked to the Total Market Index Fund just inside of your 529 plan. So you could still choose a lot of the same investments that you might be choosing in your index funds anyway. So food for thought. And then now we're back on the main page. We could show you the age base. Like there's just a ton of different ones. If your child was born in any of these years, then you can, choose which one. It's similar to a target date retirement fund. So now that we have this, we'll jump back to our application. So me personally, I'm going to be choosing the custom option. You can choose your age-based options if you want a certain Fidelity fund or index or a blend. Like I said, I'm going to be putting a lot into the total market fund just to capture the 3,974 total companies that are in the US stock market. I would rather track all of those because small and mid-cap companies are actually doing really well right now compared to, say, the Mag 7 or at least the top 10. When you're investing into something like the S&P 500, when you take in the Mag 7, the top 7 best companies plus the next 3, you're looking at over 40% is what your allocation will be. So it's not as diversified as you'd like it to be. Me personally, I'm just going to go a little bit on the safer route. So I'm going to go to the total market index fund, and that's good. And we'll click next. So here it's just a last page that you're going to want to verify all your info before clicking next. So we're going to do that. So after we click open account, it brings us to this page. Congratulations, your account is open. It gives you your account number. So from here, we can link our bank account and start transferring the funds. Now, I'm not going to transfer them today, but we'll go through as far as we can and then lead you over to the main Fidelity page. So here, same thing. We're going to most common other funding options. You would link a bank account or do direct deposit. Me, I would still do the link. In order to originally sync the My Bank with the Fidelity, they did a brief transaction where they did send a certain couple pennies over, and then you would report back what they sent. And that way it just helps solidify that they do have the correct banking information. So then it comes to the main accounting page. So on the left-hand side, you'll see individual account. This is our individual brokerage account. You'll also see the traditional IRA, Roth IRA. And here at the bottom, you'll see the individual 529 plan that we just opened. So once we were to go here, we could click, this is going to be the summary, positions. This is if you are invested, it'll tell you what you're invested in. So this would be to add a beneficiary to these other accounts. I don't need to just yet. Then your activity. So as you start selling and buying stocks within them, these activities will show in here under your past 30 days. And you could even go out to a few years in the past if you really wanted to see how things have moved. And you can also download these into CSV files if you want to upload them somewhere and run graphs and, upload them into a different software that helps track your retirement planning. Balances just tells you balances, any tax documents that you need. These will be where your tax documents will show. Okay, so something that you won't see in a lot of other videos, and it's not really mentioned. If you have grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins that are looking to gift things to your kids or to you, if you're getting ready and finishing saving up for college, if you have family that are giving you money, but instead of buying a gift or giving cash, and you'd rather prefer put that money to work somewhere, right here it says set up or review my gifting dashboard. So this is actually really neat. It's something that I love Fidelity for. So your college gifting page is where family and friends can give a gift online to help achieve your college savings goal. So if you wanted to enter a greeting that is personalized, the display name for the child, you can even put a picture here, if their enrollment year of a college, this is, if you're 18 or some years old, say, hey, I'm going to go to this college, and then your college major that you might be interested in, it sends them a link without sending them the personal data of the account itself. So they get a link to saying, hey, go ahead and give $10, $20, $100 towards their college plan rather than handing them $100 cash. Which then, of course, either goes towards snacks, food, or whatever toy that they're thinking of anyway, completely wasted. But if you're like, hey, maybe give them half cash, they can go buy the things they want, and let's put half into this college fund that then later is, worth so much more than the original $10 or $20 that you put in. So one thing that you don't really see a lot, it's not really talked about, but it is here and it's built into Fidelity. Now, before you go, here are the mistakes that cause regret. Number one, not checking your state tax benefit first. An example is like here in Iowa, we can get a deduction for contributing to our state's 529 plan instead of Fidelity's. It just saves a little bit on state taxes. Number two, never opening an account to begin with. Number three, overthinking the investments. Make it simple, choose one, stick with it. You can always invest in something else down the road and then sell and trade. That's okay. Number four, not setting recurring contributions and then forgetting to contribute. You want to contribute. And if this is difficult for you, or if you're always having trouble remembering to put money into this account, you can set up recurring contributions. So if you want to spend $10 a month, $20 a month to continuously go in here over time to compound interest until they're gone off to college, that's something that you can set up so you don't have to think about it again. And if you avoid those four, you're already ahead of most people. So just know that going forward. And that's exactly how to open a 529 plan in Fidelity. Now, 529 plans are only part of a full financial plan. There are 401ks, IRAs, brokerage accounts, HSAs. If you want to know more about each type of account and how you can position them to get ahead, check out this video next, and I'll see you there.